Hello there! Today, we are selling radiation suits for 1,700 a pop, mercenary steel suit boots for 7,800 a pop, loads of lube for 10 a pop, and farming duraluminum chest to sell the dust and make close to 5k Solari per chest. That's all you really need to know. Go ahead and get out there and start making that money. But if you stick around, I'm going to help you do things a little more efficiently. I'll give you some exact numbers, I'll give you some good locations and routes, and I'll share my personal method that uses multiple strategies. I've broken it up so that you can watch the individual approach in case you want to formulate your own strategy, and at the end I'll include mine if you'd rather just use that one. Okay, let's get into it. The Constellation chest can give close to 3,000 Solari each. The Duraluminum infused spice dust goes for 125 each. You also get other items that can be sold for reasonable amounts. Solari is in every chest, but it's these additional items that makes this strategy worth the time. We're talking an average of 4,500 Solari per chest. For the 30 seconds it takes to run into a building and grab the chest, that's pretty good. This method has even more benefits adding to its usefulness. A lot of the items you get you'll need anyways, including some of the best uniques in Hagga Basin. That's 2 birds, 1 stone. This guide isn't about the exchange, but if you were to sell some of those uniques, your Solari haul would be exponentially higher. And if you don't sell them, you now have the best items you can get without going into the deep desert, so it's a win-win. This one varies a lot for time it takes and how much you can get. You can alter your routes to farm more locations or make a quicker routine. I like to add in a couple of aluminum chest locations. Aluminum infused spice dust only goes for 100, so it's a little less, but you still get great items from the chests. And you'll still get up to 2,800 Solari per each chest. So it makes sense to add them into the route to boost your overall yield. This is where I like to go. Southern Comms. I come in from the backside, but if you were facing the front, it's on the right side of the building. Enter in and go up to the top floor. It's around the corner near this mannequin. Sentinel City. This is located right next door, so I fly over and I go in the backside. Once you get through the tunnel to the main part, go right. The main building to the right will have an ID band on the second story platform. Then turn around and go inside. The Aegis. The next stop is a PvP location, but this one and the others you really shouldn't be concerned about. You'll be in and out before anyone could ever take you down. Also, if you haven't noticed by now, very few people hang out in these areas. Everyone has moved on to the deep desert. From this main balcony, you will go into the Great Hall. The ID band is located in the locker room to the left, in the back, and the chest is located directly on the floor below it. A little ways to the west is the Passage of Artemis, another PvP location. It has the same layout as the last location. I like to land in the back and go up into the Great Hall. The locker room in the back left for the ID band, and the room with the chest is directly below it. Stoneset Village. This is a regular aluminum chest, but I like to go to it because it has the Tarl Cutteray schematic. It's one of the best schematics overall that you can get in all of Hagga Basin. Enter in. There's a broken stair path up, but you can just glide your way up there. Follow the stairs, it's all the way at the top to the left. Beast's Claw, another PvP location. These Harkonnen locations are also similar to one another. The ID band is on the big desk in the main room, and the chest is downstairs to the left. The Edge of Acheron. This next building is very close to the last one in distance, and it's exactly the same layout. Into the main room on the big desk is the ID band, and downstairs to the left is the chest. Wreck of the Delphus. Now we're into the radiation zone, so you will need your radiation suit. We're entering from the east side. There are no enemies in here, but it is very dark. There's a body with a light that you can use. This one's a little mazy, so I'll just play it out for you. Shaitan's Grotto. Here we have a quick moisture cave. There will be some radiation level 3 in this cave, but you can quickly make it in and out, no problem. Just go in and stay to the left. The chest is behind this rock in the altar room. Wreck of Euphoria. And the final location is at the bottom of the map, just outside the radiation zone. You don't need your suit here, but the enemies are a little tougher, so just be prepared for that. It's a very small wreck, just in to the right and cut the door open. The low-grade lubricant sells for 10 Solari each. It is very easy to craft. One craft produces 5, so it's a great item to sell in bulk. Today we're looking to make 10,000 to sell for about 100,000 Solari. We will need 108,000 total water, 4,000 fuel cells, and 2,000 silicon blocks. These Solari strategies are assuming that you are towards the end game. 100,000 water should not be a problem at this point. It's just 4 regular death stills or 3 advanced ones. But just in case you aren't quite there yet, it's not that hard to get 100,000 water from a combination of blood draining and scythe. It'll take you no more than 10 minutes. The biggest drawback is the time it takes to craft all those silicon blocks. 8+ hours. This strategy requires you to let things run a little while you're offline. The efficient way to do this is to head out and get your flower sand first. You'll be able to get 10,000 per load with 1 assault orny. There are a couple patches in Vermilius Gap where the worm won't bother you because it's too close to the rocks. I use this location. There might be better, but I've just kind of locked onto this one. With the industrial static compactor and a few planetologist skills, I'll get 69 flower per pile. It takes about 15 minutes in total for travel time and to fill up if I'm just using my orny. When I get back, I start crafting my silicon blocks. Then you'll go out and farm your fuel cells. This will take 5 minutes if you have a buggy. You get huge amounts from each node. Now you just have to wait. I recommend setting up a second and potentially third chemical refinery. Even if you plan to be offline for those 8 hours that it takes to craft the silicon blocks, you'll need to craft a lubricant once you're back, and that takes even longer, more than 11 hours. Those are pretty crazy numbers, so split the time in half or a third and craft more refineries. The farming is easy, so you'll just have to plan for your craft of silicon and then the second craft period for the lubricant itself. Once everything is crafted, it will require multiple trips. 15 loads can fit in the assault orny, and up to 8 or 9 more on your person. These aren't long trips, but it's just another reason why trying to do this in one bulk session isn't efficient. Let things craft passively, and then when you have a full load, make that quick trip over to get your Solari. The mercenary stillsuit boots sell for around 7,800 each. The resources are easy enough to farm, so this is definitely worth your time. I like the boots compared to the other pieces of the stillsuit because it seems to get the best return for the amount of resources it takes. The requirement? We're looking to sell 13 to get us just over that 100,000 Solari mark. We'll need about 190,840 water, 195 Duraluminum, 234 micro sandwich fabrics, 429 silicon blocks, and 52 stillsuit tubings. Again, this is a reminder that these are late game strategies, so I am assuming you will already have death stills. To get your 190,000 water, you'll need 8 regular ones or 5 advanced. That's not that much, just keep in mind the aluminum crafting and silicon block crafting takes a lot of time. So if you have 0 water, you're going to have to wait for that water, then wait for the aluminum to craft, then wait for the duraluminum to craft. If you really don't want to wait, you can always fill up some blood packs while farming the stillsuit tubing, or make a quick do run. But at this point in the game, you probably have your water situated for the most part, so you do what you typically do to keep that water flowing. You want to get that aluminum and silicone crafting ASAP. The crafting times are 97 minutes for the aluminum and 107 minutes for the silicon. The aluminum needs to be crafted, then turned into duraluminum, so I suggest going after that one first because of those multiple steps. It shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes depending on your location. You don't need much, only 1,365 ore. A buggy can get that in minutes. Once you have the aluminum, start crafting it, if you have the water for it. Next, you'll have to farm the flower sand. It's the same as with the lubricant. I use this specific spot where the sandworm seems to be a little less angry. You'll need 2,145 flower sand. That's 5 minutes or less worth of farming, and it will all fit in your thopter with one trip. Keep in mind, we are only focused on 13 stillsuits. Likely, you'll want more flower sand for this and other things, so you might as well take the time to fill all the way up. Once you get the flower sand, you'll need to get that started because of that ridiculous craft time. Then, you'll head back out and farm jasmium. I like to go for jasmium here because I can get my duraluminum started with my second ore refinery. But if you are in need of water, you may want to go farm your stillsuit tubing first because you can get blood to help you keep up with those water demands. The choice will depend on your situation. For jasmium, you only need 780. That will fit in a scout ornithopter with room to spare, so one trip shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. Then we go after our stillsuit tubing and micro sandwich fabric at the same time. This will be the most time consuming of all the resources, but we get to do it at the same time, so that helps. Head out to the Udom. You should already know where to farm the micro sandwich fabric. All the enemies in this territory drop stillsuit tubing, so you are just farming the enemies at these moisture caves. Some of these can be a little empty with bad guys, so if you need more steel suit tubing, you can always stop off at an Imperial testing station or Mesa Terrell, and if you need more fabrics, just go to other moisture caves, because you might need to. On average, it takes me 40 minutes to get the micro sandwich fabrics. By that time, I have more than enough steel suit tubing. After that, you'll just need to check on your aluminum. If you have 2 refineries, get that Duraluminum going in the second. If not, make sure it's going in the queue so that you don't ever have downtime. Waiting for the rest of the resources to craft is the only thing left to do. You can either go off and do other things, or I usually will do all this before I log off. Then next time, I will quickly craft these steel suits as I log on, and I can make that quick trip to the vendor. Even with low demand, radiation suit sells upwards of 10,000, but with a zero demand, you'll get closer to 17,000. These are more costly than the steel suit boots to craft, but because we don't have to farm micro sandwich fabric, it's still worth our time. Today we are looking to craft 8. That's just an assumption that you can get 12,500. You'll probably get more, hopefully. You'll need about 365,000 water, 400 silicon blocks, 400 duraluminum, and 80 sand trout leathers. You might be at a point where this water demand is no issue, but for most of you, this will be the biggest drawback here. You would need 9 advanced death stills or 15 regular ones. That's a lot, no matter how you look at it. Likely, you'll be doing this one in chunks. Just like before, keep in mind you always have the option to scythe for a quick yield of water to make sure your silicon blocks and aluminum don't ever have to stop crafting because of those really long craft times. Aluminum is the longest to craft, so you want to get that started first. You need 2,800 aluminum ore. This can be done pretty quick with the Mark 5, 1 trip, a full inventory on a 2,000 volume buggy. For me, it takes less than 10 minutes. Get back and get that aluminum crafting, and then go out and get your flour sand. One last time, it's the same for me as before, in Vermilius Gap, a mostly safe spot, where you can get a lot in a short amount of time. You need 2,000 sand, that's 1 trip with your Scout Orny, 5 to 10 minutes max with travel time. Make sure to get that crafting as soon as you get it. Because again, the total aluminum craft time will be 200 minutes, and the total silicon craft time will be 100 minutes. Then, while both of those are crafting, I will go do the thing that takes the most of my active time. That's the sand trout leathers. Just like with the Merc Boots, these will come from the same enemies. They're all over the Udum territory. Obviously, going to the most condensed area is going to be the fastest. The Imperial testing stations are fine. I personally like to go wherever I am in need of other resources, whether that's Diamondine Dust from Mesa Terrell or looking for schematics at the PvP parts. It doesn't matter much though, the enemies are easy to find. They're pretty much everywhere. You need 80 sand trout leathers. This can take me 40 minutes plus, so it does take a little bit of time unless you're getting really lucky and getting a lot from each enemy. But this is why I like to have my silicon blocks and aluminum crafting in the process. That way, by the time I get back, I'll have a good bit to start crafting my suits with. Once I have what I need, I check my aluminum and I start crafting duraluminum in my second refinery. If you don't have a second one, just be sure to queue it up so that there's no downtime. Again, you want to make sure that nothing is stopped at any point. At this point, it's just a waiting game. Once I do have the 400 duraluminum queued up, I can log off and I can quickly just craft the suits next time I'm on. The long craft times are the main reason I like to use multiple strategies. During this wait period, I could go quickly farm constellation chests or continue gathering more resources to craft even more suits, boots, or lube to sell later on. So let me jump into the complete strategy that I like to use. I usually plan ahead so my water reserves are already full. I farm my aluminum, full buggy takes 10 minutes max. With the 2,000 volume storage, that gets me 476 aluminum. I go back and I start crafting, but not all of it. I save some water for my silicon blocks. Immediately, I refill my death stills with bodies, and I farm dew if it's nighttime. I live close to a patch that yields 60,000, so it's worth it for me. Then I go farm flour. As much as I can carry in the assault, that's 10,000 flour sand. Takes another 10 minutes max. I go back, I start crafting my silicon blocks. This usually burns through the rest of my water. If it's nighttime now, I will go farm if I wasn't able to before. If I can get a little bit more water, I'll start crafting more aluminum in my second refinery and more silicon blocks in my second chemical refinery to speed up those processes. Then, while those are crafting, I'll go get jasminum. 1 trip with the assault and Tarl Cutteray in 10 to 15 minutes max, I can get a full load of 2,500, which would be enough for 625 duraluminum. That's more than I need. My death stills will still be processing. So I take the time to farm dew quickly. If it's night and I hadn't had a chance to before, then I go to a constellation chest run. This yields about 30,000 gold after I sell those things off. By now, my death stills should have finished. If there is a little more time, I'll just go restock bodies. Once that water is done, I will finish crafting my aluminum, or as much as I can get from it. Then I'll restock those death stills once more. I wait to craft my Duraluminum before I log off. Then, while this last batch of stills finishes, I go farm my still suit tubing and sand trout leathers and micro sandwich fabric. I mostly stick to the dew caves to get all 3 resources at once, but I will also stop over at the other locations like Misatero to get other resources in the process if I need them. In about 40 minutes, I can come away with around 200 fabrics, 50 leathers, and 50 tubings. This number can vary quite a bit, but I like to stop at 40 minutes so that I can squeeze in another quick constellation chest run and get another 30k Solari. Now when I go back to base, my stills will have finished. I finished off the rest of my aluminum, and in my second refinery, I craft as much Duraluminum as I can. Then that's usually when I log off. By the time I get back on, my silicon blocks will have been done, all 476 aluminum will have been crafted, and most of the Duraluminum will have been finished as well. First thing I'll do when I'm back on though is I will finish off that Duraluminum, and then I will start to craft my items. I prioritize the Merc Boots because they have a lower Duraluminum cost. I craft as many as I can until I run out of fabrics or still suit tubing. It's usually around 10 before I run out. Based on how much farming I had done, that would yield about 78,000 Solari. Since I crafted all my aluminum, I'll have plenty of Duraluminum left to craft Haz suits. My Merc Boots will take up 150 to 180 Duraluminum, so I'll have more than enough left to craft my Haz suits. Usually the bottleneck will be how many leathers I have left. So I just craft whatever I can with however many leathers I have, and there's usually more than enough silicon blocks to cover this. In fact, I'll have over 1,000 silicon blocks left to craft lubricants with. I need to take 5 minutes to get fuel cells. That's no big deal. Then I will start crafting all that I can. With 1,000 blocks, I could get 5,000 lubricants, which would yield about 50,000 more Solari. Let's look at the total effort and final yield. Aluminum farming, 10 minutes. Scythe water farming, 5 to 10 minutes. Flower farming, 10 minutes. Jasmium farming, 15 minutes. 2 chest runs, 15 minutes. Still suit, leather, and fabric farming, 40 minutes. From the chests, I'll yield about 30,000 Solari each, so that's 60 total. I'll be able to craft about 10 mercenary still suit boots. That's 78,000. I'll have enough left to craft about 5 Haz suits. That will yield about 85,000. And then the leftover silicon blocks will yield me at least 50,000 Solari worth of lubricant. That will all total about 270,000 Solari. The biggest obstacle is the crafting times. When you add up the actual active farming, it takes me a little over an hour and a half. That's not terrible, and these numbers can be improved further with better equipment and a more efficient plan. You could definitely maximize these strategies to get even better yields in a shorter amount of time. This is kind of the low end of what you could get. And as I mentioned, if you really wanted to bump this up even further, sell those uniques on the exchange while you can. Eventually, people will have all those items and no one will be buying. So now's a good time to make exponentially more while you can.